Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening from London in United Kingdom. We are meeting again here. It's Tuesday, and we are talking about special spiritual dimension and special needs. This series is dedicated to raise awareness and build bridges for understanding visible and invisible disabilities and challenges which people face. I've got my special guest here, Jessica Gonzalez. Hi, Jessica.
Hello. Good afternoon from New York City.
Amazing. And we were just saying it's cold there and it's cold here. So I'm not going to regret, like I do sometimes, that I'm not in Florida or California. Yes, Jessica is joining us to tell us about her story of growing up with her sister, who was diagnosed on the autism spectrum at rather early age. So I'm very excited to hear your story and ask some questions. But let's start from a quick introduction, Jessica. Could you tell us in your own words a bit about yourself?
So I was born and raised in New York City to two teenage parents. So my parents had me at 18. They were very, very young. So they were graduating high school and having a baby. So it was very much lipstick. It was very much a challenge for them to raise me. By the time we were in a very good place, my mom found out that she was pregnant with my sister, which was very exciting because I actually always told my parents I wanted a baby in the house. So it was pretty much like a big gift for me when I found out I was going to be a big sister. It's a very life-changing experience, and I'm so happy that I got it. And the day she was born, everything was normal. She was happy, healthy, responsive. But as she, developed, we noticed that she was developing at a normal pace in terms of crawling, walking, and in terms of the foods that she was eating, which was great. But we noticed that she was having some delays in terms of understanding speech around her, and that she didn't really understand dada or mama or anything like that. She was able to understand her name, which was great. But then eventually my mom took her to a doctor to just double check and make sure everything was okay. And after a couple of tests and I believe it was an MRI on my sister, maybe it was, I need a double check. But after some time, they called my mother and said that she has autism, and we don't really know what to tell you. Because autism in the early 2000s, around the time when my sister was born, was something that people really didn't talk about. It wasn't something very well known. Kids who had special needs were put into a separate school from people who did not have special needs. So it was a very difficult time in that I didn't really understand what it was. My mom was kind of distraught by the news because the doctors were not encouraging at all. They said, she'll never talk. We don't know what to tell you to do with your daughter. And I mean, it's something you really don't want to hear as a parent, as a sibling, because like your sibling, when they're born, it's kind of like that's your automatic best friend in life. So for me, it kind of felt like someone was telling me my best friend's never going to achieve anything. And I kind of became the backbone in my family, in that I believe that she can talk. I believe that we need to just fight for her. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if we don't believe in my sister, then who does? And sometimes, you know what, it doesn't matter who's telling you anything. Sometimes you need to just go out, do it, and, just apply yourself. And I'm very happy with where she's at right now at 17 years old. And I'm very happy to have my sister in general, to have a great friend and a great person in my life. So, yeah, sorry.
Brilliant. That's a wonderful story, and I'm smiling because, as I mentioned, my son recently, compared to your story, has been diagnosed with on the spectrum. And yes, there are different times now. There seems to be much more awareness. I will talk about it, why we think that there is not enough. But there
Yes.
is much more now of awareness than back in 2000. So
Mm-hmm.
times are different. And we are working still to contribute a bit more to that awareness raising movement. But I will bring back the discussion from last week. We were actually talking about how children with special needs might influence their siblings, and generally family dynamics. And my guests were pointing out certain challenges for let's call it neurotypical siblings who have brothers, sisters with special needs. The main ones I seem to note as taking role of a caregiver from a very early stage, um, maybe feeling that there is not that much attention on them, feeling less important at times, and also that conviction that they would be taking care of their siblings for the rest of their life. So quite a heavy weight to take as a young child. Can you relate to any of them? Were there any of those challenges present at any stage of your childhood?
I would say that at a young age, even at a young age before my sister was born, I felt like I was the rock in my family. So then my sister came along and enhanced that because she was diagnosed with autism. And my mother was still figuring out a lot, so was my father. I very much had to take on a lot of responsibility in that, because I had parents who had a high school education who were working all the time. It's like, okay, make sure you feed your sister, make sure, you play with her, make sure, because my sister enrolled in school at 2 years old to get an early start in her education so she could get the attention she needed. Help your sister with her homework. All of that I basically had forced on me around the age of like 10 or 11. I even had a friend's mom who openly said, I feel like you're so mature for your age. I feel like you do so much. Because sometimes when I was in middle school, like secondary school or something, I was basically going from my middle school to pick up my sister in her elementary school at 12 or 13. So I did have a lot of responsibility thrust on me. I did have moments where I was particularly annoyed because I was going through puberty and I want to figure myself out. So, it's not a fun experience, but I very much felt like I want to figure myself out and I didn't want to really have anything to do with like my family that much because I want to figure out my friends and my identity and all this other stuff. But in a way, I always loved doing things for my sister, even when I was acting a little out, because she's like the one person who I would do anything for because she's always been there for me and shown me how much she loves and appreciates me. Well, as we got older, I realized how much she loved and appreciated me because I'm pretty much I am her best friend in that I'm the one who sees her for who she is. I'm the one who can sometimes get her to say things that she doesn't say in front of my parents, which is something amazing. It feels like there's this weird bond between me and her that even my parents can never understand. And I mean, that's also something I put in my book about me and my sister. So that's something I really much emphasize. But I did have a little bit of annoyance when I had the responsibility on me. But at the same time, I feel like
Understandably.
yeah, exactly. I feel like now I've grown as a person and I do like that I had that responsibility on me because it's helped me understand how to be a responsible adult, how to take care of people, how to handle people, and how to be more patient in general. Because when it comes to people with autism or special needs, you need to be a patient person. And I think sometimes in society, people are not patient at all.
Yeah.
So I very much, yes, exactly. Thank you. Because it's something I
Absolutely.
think. No, yeah. So
Absolutely. And thank you because you've just answered my second question, which was about the biggest takeouts and lessons you took from that time when you were sort of finding out your own self-identity and no doubts having challenges with that extra responsibility. So thank you, and I can completely relate. Patience is the biggest challenge to me still. When there is different processing happening, different time scales are happening for a person with special needs at times, and through no fault of their own, they can't respond the way we are used to. So that is definitely a big lesson, and it's an ongoing one. At least for me.
Absolutely. Yes, you need to have the patience to understand that they need a little bit more time to process things, and that's perfectly fine. We all process things at different speeds and different ways. So for me, it's understanding that people process things in different settings and everything, because even the way my sister reacts to certain things is different from how her friends in school react to certain things. Everyone's very different. But I've also noticed that they're always so sweet and very kind. I've never had a bad encounter with someone who has autism. Ever since I was little, all of my sister's classmates were so sweet, so kind, and even if they didn't speak much, they would like maybe give you like a picture they drew and just give it to you to show you, hi, I like you and I think you're a very nice person. It's just this amazing kindness that they have. That's just the ability to calm down a room or just spread happiness is captivating. That's why I mean I love working with my sister's community so much because of that.
So when you are talking about your sister's community, she's got a circle of friends who are on the spectrum, and that's how I'm understanding it.
She has she has her
Let's
classmate.
talk about your sister. What's her name?
Oh, my sister, her name's Lauren.
Lauren.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, let's talk about Lauren for a little bit.
So Lauren, she has her friends in school that she's pretty much grown up with because she's known them since she was about 10. So they've been together for 7 years. So at this point, they all know each other. They've all seen each other's families. And my sister also was very lucky to go to a special needs camp where she made a bunch of friends too. We have pictures in our house of all of her friends because she took pictures with them. She would go upstate for like a couple of hours. They would go play soccer or something and try new foods. One thing that's very big in autism is that they're very routine. But if they see people in their community trying new things, they're more willing to try them themselves. Because I noticed that there was this huge transformation when my sister started becoming social with people in her community. She made a best friend named Mina, who sadly moved, but then they tried, archery together, like a bow and arrow. And I'm like, oh my God, my sister's into this stuff. And then she's into rainbow ice cream and all these other things because my sister's so routine. And it's very common when you have autism to be very routine. I'm pretty sure your son is very routine with how he likes things. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And when they see people that they're friends with who understand them and are in that community and they're doing something different, they want to try it. It's this really beautiful thing just to see my sister. She's making friends. She has classmates who she's friends with, and they try new things together because they're comfortable, and I feel like they're able to understand the anxiety of trying something new together. So it's like a nice safety blanket that they have with each other. It's very beautiful. She goes out. We sometimes go out to dinner with her friends, and they just hang out. They'll be on their I forgot what it's called now. Am I getting old? Sorry. They'll be on their iPods or something, looking at videos and music together. And I mean, it's just like regular kids hanging out, having fun. Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's really beautiful picture you painted there of those friendships. And when we are talking about raising awareness on about autism, and you are actively engaged in various initiatives. Why do you think? I mean, it seems like a lot has been done, and it's probably the best, one of the most known invisible disability. But why do you think we still need to raise the awareness? What do you think within your work experience? What are still the sort of most important lessons people need to learn, and how we can build those bridges?
I think that we need to understand that, well, I'll speak specifically for autism, is that autism is not defined by one person or one thing. It's a spectrum of millions of people who are all different and all come from all aspects of life. So when someone can approach you and have autism, you need to understand that, yes, things will be a little different, but you need to discover who they are as the person and how they live with their autism. That's very much something in which we need to understand. I mean, in terms of scientific research, now we're actually diving in the in the 20s,
Yes.
2020s. Yeah. Basically, we're starting to understand more, because back then it was like, okay, one size fits all for autism. And now we're realizing, oh my God, it's like one in, what is it, 30 boys are diagnosed with autism, one in 60 girls.
Yes, 30% of society apparently.
Exactly. So I think that now, I mean, I feel like society is, in my opinion, is getting very better towards social acceptance. And we're seeing people with autism being represented in TV shows. And we see people like, even Love on the Spectrum is like a show about people on the spectrum falling in love and trying to get married and start families. They're just like us. They're just like other people. They just think a little bit differently. And once we get past things that are neurotypical, we're just like, wow, we're all just people at the end of the day. I think it's more like people just need to learn more, and we need just more books about it, more shows about it. And I mean, that's very much why I wrote my children's book, was because I wanted to show what it's like to have a sibling with autism, make it a happy, feel-good book, so that way kids can learn, kids can have fun reading it, but also understand what it is. Because for me, I never had this book when I was little. I very much, when I was little, I had to like say, oh, my sister's silly, rather than she has autism, because there wasn't a lot of acceptance or a lot of people knowing about it.
Which is so upsetting, isn't it, for a sibling to sort of belittle your own brother or sister. So I completely understand it, and this is great. Actually, you did write a book, so let's mention it in more detail.
Yes. Okay. So my book is Luna Yes, Luna See. And I mean, it's like my baby at this point. I very much love that I was able to share some small moments of my childhood between me and my sister. It basically goes through the relationship of Cassie and Luna. And you see Cassie, kind of the narrator of this story, and Luna is obviously the secondary character. And you see her in the background of Cassie's life doing certain things that are a little bit different, but you see that she's still present, she's still there, she's still Luna, she's still her sister. So there are the ups and downs in that, you know, Cassie does feel neglected at moments. There are also the moments where she's just like, you know, things are tough when Luna doesn't want to do certain things, but my parents want Luna to do certain things. But then there's the happy moments where me and Luna, we love dancing, or we love eating cookies, or all of that, you know, the happy moments that, you know, you just feel between you and your sibling. So I very much am happy that I'm able to share this with kids. I've been so happy with the reading so far, because a lot of kids have been open in that, oh, I know someone with autism. I have a cousin with autism. I have a friend with autism, and I write them letters, because I've seen long distance friendships between children who don't have special needs versus someone who does have special needs. It was it's amazing, and it's beautiful to see that this is what they're starting to do. Like, kids who are very young are starting to say, oh yeah, I have a friend who has autism, and I'm very happy to be their friend, and I always help them whenever they don't feel good or anything. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's heartwarming, and with children, I feel we only need to give them just a little advice, a little encouragement, and they are there pouring their hearts and souls, and just showing how kind they can be to someone who exactly has special needs. It doesn't need to be autism; it can be another special need. So absolutely, and I'm so pleased there was a book you wrote, and obviously you've used your experience, your very personal take on living with a sibling of special needs. So that's wonderful. Um, with all the work you are doing, and it's very. I mean, you studied psychology, so I'm presuming here you are very interested in human nature and how we react, how differently we behave. And do you think that choice of your work, your studies, was somehow dictated by your early experiences with your sister?
It was definitely influenced. I very much feel like in the beginning I wanted to distinguish myself from my sister because I was debating like should I become a special needs teacher, but I also was like I want to do something in which I can take care of my sister as we get older. So I went into psychology, and originally I was trying to go into research for autism. However, I would say I went into the research field and personally found it a little pretentious. So I very much geared away from that. And now at the moment, with this year, everything got on hold. I was able to really narrow down what I wanted, and I think I want to go into speech pathology because I get to basically work and help people communicate better, but help build language skills. My sister has had speech pathologists since she was 2, and they are some of the most amazing people who really show how much they care and they're dedicated to these kids. And I always wondered, I'm like, maybe I could do that. And now I'm just like, I'm going to do it because I love helping people. I love seeing the progress. I know that even the speech pathologist my teacher, my sister worked with, they loved seeing my sister's progress. It's like every small moment was a celebration in the house. And that's pretty much where like you feel it, and it's such a rewarding career, and it's something that I want to do. I want to help these people. I want to help these kids achieve their full potential to the highest extent that we can. So I'm very happy with I mean, I did need psychology credits, but right now I'm going back to school to get my speech pathology credits so that way I can apply for the master's and then eventually start working in the field. So,
Oh, beautiful, amazing. So you are a great example of someone who had those challenges in terms of being a caregiver, in terms of taking maybe too much responsibility, maybe too much weight for a small child at the time, but you managed to sort of overcome that and brought that positive spin here and making your contribution to raising awareness of autism as it's, I guess it's helping your sister as well. In the long term, it helps everyone, I believe, the whole society, when we have much more understanding between us. So going back to helping others understanding autism, what are your main tips and advices when we work, when we socialize, when we are around people on the spectrum?
number one tip, and I think you and I definitely can agree on this, is always be patient. Be patient.
Absolutely.
Be patient with them, and in turns, you're going to start to discover really amazing things that they'll feel comfortable showing you. Because remember, they also sometimes are not 100% comfortable with meeting someone new. So they need to warm up
Yeah.
to you. They're going to observe you. They're going to just be a little quiet in the beginning. Because I know how my sister is when she meets new people. She's very quiet, but she's very observant at the end of the day too. So yeah, that's how she is with every friend I bring along. She's very quiet and she just watches them, like very sly. I love that about her though, because she's so on point with people. But another thing I would also say is don't be afraid to feel goofy or like be out there, because to be honest, they're not afraid to, loosen up once they're very comfortable around you. They'll start dancing, they'll start singing, they'll start playing games. Honestly,
I
don't be
love fun. Yes.
Yes, they're very carefree, and I love that. I love that. So don't be afraid to be goofy or carefree when you're around them. And 3, realize that love can be shown in many different ways when it comes to autism. They can't always know that you're sad or upset or you're angry, but in small ways that they can show you that they care about you. Like my sister, I think I fell asleep one day because I was stressed out, and then she just put the covers on me, and I knew that that's like a way of showing I love you and I care about you. And
Wow.
I've met other people as well who have had those encounters where, like, when I was upstate in New Paltz, I met this woman who had a son with autism, and he was 16 at the time, and he's one to kind of just randomly give you like water or give you a snack, even if you don't want it, just give it to you to show you, hey, I
So,
was thinking about you, I love you, and I care about you.
well, absolutely, because sometimes it's quite known a personality trait that they don't understand social interactions, and they might learn that in order to show kindness, you make someone a cup of tea or put a blanket on them, and then they will just use that sort of social interaction to show they care. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful when it happens, because we know the intention, and it doesn't matter if it's in the right or wrong context. It's just the intention is there. And I guess that's another tip to mention, that we shouldn't judge too quickly and rush to conclusions to ridicule someone if all they want to do is to show that kindness. Maybe not exactly knowing how, but at least trying to do so. So that's brilliant. We have, well, I'm just going to look quickly through comments, as we have Diana and Andrea watching with us, saying hello and complimenting, and hello back, and complimenting you on sharing your story, and rightly so. It's a beautiful story, and it's got so much personal touch. Diana also says we need more fun. Yes, we do.
Yes.
It shouldn't be all gloomy and difficult. We all need fun, especially recently.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. We need to lighten up. So I'll put a link in the comment section to your book if you have one.
Yes, absolutely. I will send that as soon as I can.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very interested to have a look and see how we can all learn from that. But I genuinely think that your story is a story of hope and resilience, and a story which really warms hearts, because you are giving back so much, and you are so happy, positive, and optimistic. And before we wrap up, let's also mention, how is your sister now? Is she functioning in the sort of adult world? She's a young adult, isn't she? Does she have prospects for her work? Is she independent?
So right now, well, before the pandemic, my sister was actually working at Lincoln Center here in New York City. It's the famous center where you see all the operas, the ballets, all of this. So she was working there with a couple of her friends, actually, because they opened up a program called the Student Ambassador Program for special needs. So she was working as like a greeter. Basically, they like helped you. They greeted you at the front door and then showed you where to go at Lincoln Center. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, my sister did lose her job. But again, we're hoping next year, if things get better, that she can return to work, because she very much liked it there and she was very happy. And so were my parents, so was my whole family, because it was her first job. So she has work potential. She was very ambitious and very driven to go to work, which is something beautiful, because compared to what doctors told us in the beginning, she's doing so much more than they ever thought she would. She's 17, so she's going through changes and the emotions that 17-year-olds go through. She very much is attached to her iPod and her iPad all the time, always on YouTube, always on something. She's very much, a teenager, in that she likes to just eat cookies and chips and chill out and, just like be lazy sometimes.
Regular stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and I very much have the little sister aspect, in that she steals my clothes and she steals my makeup, and I very much yes. So That's something I very much got that all little sisters do, because even my friends who have little sisters have told me that this is what they do. And then
Nothing
next thing you
different.
know, yes, the next thing you know, you're wondering where your favorite shorts are, and then your sibling comes in wearing them. So that is a constant for me right now. So yeah,
But it's so refreshing that it's actually very much the regular relationship, the regular teenage girl exploring life, exploring her sort of youth, and with beautiful prospects for her adult life, which she doesn't need to spend being dependent. And
yeah,
against the doctor's diagnosis, which often happens. And I want doctors to be wrong all the time when it comes to those kind of diagnoses.
absolutely.
So that's great. I think she she also is very lucky having you as a sister, with all the support, warmth, and encouragement you've been providing.
Forever, forever, yes.
Yes, yes. So wonderful story. Thank you so much for coming, joining us to talk about it. And before we wrap up, I just have one final question. Since we are here on a Spiritual Awakening Circle platform, I wanted, and I'm very curious about it, I wanted to ask if you had any spiritual experiences or spiritual practices which maybe helps you during those difficult times, challenging times. So maybe it's just you are by nature spiritual. Just do you have anything to say here?
Yeah, so I very much believe in fate and believe that everything in your life, if you pay attention closely, is kind of connected. Even with things that you kind of didn't expect or you didn't want to happen, very much are all interconnected. I I very much think that my sister was brought into my life for a reason. And sorry, my bad.
Mm.
And I believe that having her has given me this ability to see the world in a much more calmer manner, rather, sorry, my bad. Oh my gosh, rather than the insane way that we often portray it. And I think that I've meditated, I've like managed to center myself and understand that everything in life is happening for a reason, rather than, I could have been that kid who gave up on her. I could have been sad all the time because I listened to the doctors. I could have beat myself over the head, like sometimes, like how my parents did at a certain point, and said, maybe I hugged my mom's stomach too tight and that's why she has autism. But I'm not going to dwell on that. That doesn't help me. That doesn't help my sister. I very much believe that there's a reason she has autism. There's a reason I'm here. There's a reason that she is my sister. There's a reason we're together. And I think that fate has a way of bringing that. I think that I'm supposed to impact the world of autism as well as she. And I think that speech pathology is definitely the route I want to go down to help these kids help realize their full potential. And I think that doctors in the past have been wrong. So I'm here to beat that and here to help them. And I think that any kid is capable if they are shown the love and support they need.
Amazing. So in a way, your sister has brought your life mission to accomplish something special, and that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I could not enjoy this interview more, and I'm sure our viewers now and on the replay will do too. So thank you once again. I'm sure we'll speak again, and in the meantime, we'll make sure that the comment in the comment sections there is a link to your book and how to connect with you.
Of course.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jessica.
It was a pleasure.
Good, good. That's the most important. We achieved your satisfaction. So that's good. And that's all from us today. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.